Here we go. Well, hello there. Thanks for joining me. I am Dr. Jen, and I'm so pleased that you've joined me for today's show. This is my life as a landlord, and I have listened to all of you who wanted to know more about getting through difficult, awkward decision points in landlording. My guests today have tackled many hard points in their real estate world. Whew. And I'm excited to have this power couple on the show. Joining me from Edmonton, Alberta. Yay. Welcome, Marty and Kairi. Pawlina. Hi.
Hi there. Thanks for having us.
Hello. Yeah, happy to be here.
Okay, so it's February. There's snow in Edmonton, right?
There is.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Well, tell us your story. How did you get here today? And I'm so excited to have you guys, but tell us your story.
Well, landlording for both of us started as individuals. So we each kind of started on our own journey, renting properties. And then we both actually got into it professionally as well. So we became professionals in land development. And that's really where the beginning of our story starts.
Yeah, and we both work in the real estate industry. Kairi is a civil engineer, really highly respected in the land development industry, and I came from commercial real estate, sort of research, marketing, placemaking, also in land development, but also purpose-built rental. So we had this our professional careers in the industry, and then we came together and grew our portfolio, and that's how I guess that's how Caramar started.
Awesome. And so let's just jump into some of the big stuff that you've ever had to do. What's the biggest decision you guys have had to make in real estate, either individually or as a couple, or maybe both?
Okay.
Yeah, I'll dive in. Deciding to do it together as partners, like for me, that's the biggest decision in real estate. I think the partner you choose in life, the partner you choose in business, that's really significant. And maybe that decision to just really view challenges as opportunities. That's sort of those are like those. I know it's a pretty catch-all answer, um, but it's an active decision to view everything as an opportunity that way and to work through it. So that for me was the biggest decision in real estate to choose who I do it with and the philosophy of how we approach it. Do you beat that? Yeah.
That was awesome, Kairi. He totally set you up.
Right? I don't know. I think, like I said, we both started it individually, and then so we're already kind of doing rentals and landlording on our own. And I think then coming together as partners was more natural, and it just seemed like something that made sense to do. And so we were both already in the game, and it was a really easy transition to do it together, and we both kind of jumped all in. And Marty and I, we live and breathe real estate, architecture, land development, everything. Like we cannot go on vacation or travel without walking absolutely everywhere, killing our feet doing it, and just talking about, oh, look at this great fourplex, triplex, look at this commercial multi, look how they do it here. Can we do that back home? And so I think, yeah, the biggest decision was doing it together, but it seemed like a really natural decision for us.
Actually, when you said that we like live and breathe it, I think I think I've heard this before that there's like three categories. Like everyone's interested in real estate. There's like three levels of real estate. There's the like I'm interested. What did that house up the road sell for? Then there's like collectors, like oh that's a great property. It doesn't really cash flow, but I mean it's in my portfolio. And then there's like real estate obsessed. And for me, for us, we're obsessed with it. Every aspect of it, we're just super interested. To answer your question, biggest decision, I think doing it together. Yeah, that's a big thing.
Love it, love it. And what about on the other side of a decision? What about the biggest lesson that you've ever had in real estate?
Oh, I'm taking this one. Screen. No, really, truly, deeply understand your tenant and your risk tolerance.
Oh,
That's my biggest lesson. I don't know.
Yeah, and
okay,
I
there's a story there though. You got to say the story.
Yeah, I think Carrie was like the more advanced landlord when we started. doing- just because someone's a doctor, just because someone's a lawyer, just because someone has that flashy government job or that brand new car when they show up to do the tour, that doesn't make them a great tenant. Like that on the surface looks fantastic, and I think early on I would have made some assumptions on responsibility levels attached to careers uh, job descriptions. So my quick story would be that, it's not just about someone's income level or career. That's what I mean by screening. Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Carrie? Biggest lesson?
Well, I think, building on the screening piece, I think it's not only screening to get great tenants, but it's also screening from a time perspective. So,
Oh, good.
as we grow, and even if you're only doing one or two properties, your time is so valuable. And so you really want to screen to understand if this person is worth showing a property to begin with. I've got lots of stories on that. So, and you also don't want to be, touring, 30 people for one property, right? So you really want to be able to value your time. And so pre-screening is something that we also started doing with all of our tenants. Even before we tour, we pre-screen. And right away if the tenant doesn't want to even fill out the pre-screen, right away that, maybe there's someone that you're not interested in
Yeah,
renting
and
to.
and the
So
pre-screen it isn't primarily things like income. It might be, when are you planning to move in? What length
Mhm.
of lease are you looking for? Do you have 14 cats? Or like just some of those details. Like obviously we follow fair housing practices, but we also want to make sure that we're not wasting their time and our time if it's not a good fit. Yeah.
yeah, and finding the right fit, I think. We used to use our gut a lot as well, and we still do. I think no one really lets go of their intuition and gut, but we also, again, started using, formal screening forms and credit checks. Neither of us used to do credit checks when we first started out, and that's been a game changer too. So,
Yeah. Another lesson, I heard you touch on this in one of your podcasts, but like when the place is clean and the renovation, get your photos, get that floor plan done, like get all of that. You gotta, you can handle the unexpected when you're prepared. So, tools are ready to go. Photos are all pre-shot. The floor plan is ready to go. Marketing description is ready to go. All of that stuff, being prepared is such a big lesson, I think, in real estate. And I think we're touching on all of that. Just there's nothing wrong with being over prepared when it comes to your business. Yeah. And then
Well said.
Carrie, the other lesson, Carrie was really good at this. We had one property by the university, like, hey, we got that extra parking stall, rent it. Hey, that shed, can we rent that? Like, just looking for all income streams to optimize your property. Or, hey, how can we fit an extra suite on that lot? I think that there's so biggest lesson is there's really three things. It's be really prepared, screen really well, and look for every potential opportunity in your property. Um, yeah, you'll find it.
I really appreciate all of that. You guys do things a little bit different though. When you guys are looking around your different communities, you guys really cherry pick the properties that you look to develop though. Tell us a little bit about how you choose your properties because that's a little different than what I do.
yeah, I can speak to some of it, and then Marty can speak to the another piece from a different angle, from the marketing angle, and redevelopment. But yeah, I mean, when we're looking at lots and houses and units, we are really particular. So we're particular about what community it's in, and obviously the land and redevelopment potential as well. So those are things that we've refined as we've gone on. And what I was talking with Marty about earlier too was what's really important to us is looking at the community that's in and looking at the house that it's in and even our rental spec that we've developed, it's to a standard of, well, would we live here? Would we feel comfortable living in this community? Would we feel comfortable living in this home, in this unit? Is it to a standard where we would move in at any time? And that's really been our base standard and a really, I think I would say a core value that we have never dropped. And it's really set us up for success in finding really great tenants. And it's more than just great tenants as well. It's also about building community. We're born and raised Edmontonians, and we really care about the city that we live in, and we care about people. And so we want to bring great people into great communities as well and opening that up to them. So that's the one piece that we use. And then I thought Marty could speak more to the site selection.
Yeah, is it the worst house on the nicest street? I want it. Is the power pole ideally situated to not interrupt future development potential? Is there like obviously seven pit bulls in that backyard next door? Like I think those are all things that I think in general people look for a great location, understood. But it's those extras. Is there two houses that are in rough shape that you can assemble those two properties? Uh, you have to be really, I think, particular in your first moves in real estate. They really matter. They really set you up for the next one. And I think it's really exciting, especially for those who are interested in real estate investing, to be like, oh, I can buy that house. But it's really worth doing that extra due diligence to um, check out the zoning, find out from the city what's going on, get on the phone with the city, get on the phone with an appraiser, spend a little bit of time uh, deeply understanding that real estate before you do offers. And deeply understand that neighborhood, so you're prepared. Preparation is sort of that theme. And then we talk a lot about we say, is it cute? But really, we're talking about curb appeal. Curb appeal works for buyers, sellers, renters, everyone, appraisers. All of them will care about that appeal. So those are the things I look for. And I like to be obviously close to amenities, schools, all nature is really important, natural light, all of that. But I think in general, if you have the worst house on the nicest street, that's a really good place to start because it shows you people are investing in the neighborhood, and you should too.
Cool. Oh my gosh. Okay. So tell us a little bit about what your rental mix is now. I mean, are you doing single family homes? Are you doing multiples? Are you doing, lots of carriage houses? What's your mix? What's your ideal property for you?
Well, to date, our ideal property has been single family. So
Okay.
we've been single family homes, and there is a higher demand for that we have found, even in all sort of rental markets, because there's not as many people renting the single family home. Obviously, affordability can be challenging. We've kind of found that, there's a certain price point where you need 2 units to make that work, if you've got a mortgage on that property. So ideally, it's a single family home with a basement suite. That's always a nice extra income earner. So that's most of our portfolio. Do you want to talk about our unique
Yeah, we have
property?
we're in it right now. We have a pretty interesting property. It was a 1910 bungalow on a hill for those engineers, like 7%, 10% grade. It's a nice walkout basement. We legalized that basement, so it's got like a 9-foot ceiling, built a garage suite on there, and we have not just a mix of 3 units on one property, but we also have a mixed income model too of short and long-term rental. So typically long-term rental, a little bit more stable, and obviously a fantastic housing choice. But then short-term rental as well. So you have the varied income and revenue in a short-term rental. But when you pair that with long-term, you're able to let's say uh,
Ride out the
mitigate the
waves.
risk,
Yeah.
ride out the sort of
Highs and
the
lows, like
highs
the
and lows.
peak.
Yeah,
Yeah, like peak season
yeah,
obviously is in the summer, and in the winter it gets a bit lower. So that can be challenging from a cash flow
yeah,
perspective with a
and it.
short-term rental, but having
Yeah.
that balanced with the long term, we found has really helped that out.
And it benefits the long-term renters in that there's higher property maintenance. So the snow removal, because we're in Edmonton, is all done. Landscaping is top notch. The care of the property is really high. So there's a benefit to the long-term rental and benefit to us as the owner of the short-term rental because there's eyes on the property too.
Yeah.
So there's this sort of mixed benefits. So I think that's really unique. And now we're eyeing to take down some multifamily to sort of take all the best practices and sort of the creativity that we've put to our portfolio to the next level.
Mhm. It's different. I know the listeners are always wanting to know, how do you make that decision to go short term, mid-term, or long-term rentals? Now, Mike and I are long term. We are people who are dug in. We want their pictures on the walls. We want them to feel at home, period. But you brought up a couple of points the first time we talked about transferring the thoughtfulness in short term. No, what did you say? The thoughtfulness in long term to short term. Tell
Yeah.
us more about that.
No, I'm gonna do it. Yeah, there's a lot of I'm gonna take you for a quick tour.
Oh,
Oh yeah, so
oh, you're gonna walk us around.
I'm gonna do it. Yeah, so
if, if you're not watching on YouTube at My Life as a Landlord, you need to go to the TV and watch it now, because I know the audio listeners are going to go, what the heck's going on? So you're going to have to describe as you're walking here, Marty.
Yeah, let's do it. So hospitality matters. So right when you walk in, like that sense of place. So, branding. For example, this home is called Cliff House. 100 years
Aw.
ago, the street was called Cliff Street. Just little things like, what are the local area attractions? What can you find around here? The local cafes and eateries, all those sort of pieces. Just really elevating that whole experience, right from when you walk in to the handwritten card on the table waiting for you. Um, you know, the owner's guitar on the wall, the artwork all chosen, all those details. What I'm walking you through is just we've thought about the whole retailing experience of when a tenant walks through a place, and applying some of that thinking into a long-term rental. That's what makes our places a little bit more special, a little bit more remarkable. And then like even communication, like really good, clear communication, quick communication. I don't know. Am I missing anything?
No, I mean, I think that's yeah, it's kind of taking like a short-term rental is generally marketed really well. Like again, we've got the branding, the name, we've got all of that, but we've been trying to pull that into our long-term renting as well. So, really highlighting the community that we're in and why you want to be there, and all of the services and amenities that are there, and all the things that make it a really fun place to live and be. And from some of the short term, we've carried that into long term with starting to like initiate some welcome packages for our tenants as well. So, welcome to the community. Here's what's here in case you haven't lived here. Here's your garbage schedule. Here's where to
Like
find.
gift cards.
Yeah,
So,
but and also like
yeah.
here's where to find emergency
Yeah.
services. And then yeah, little packs of like here's some local things, there's a local bakery down the street. Here's a gift card here. Like welcome.
Aw.
And then little gift packages, like we just had a tenant move in and I just put a little package in the bathroom as well, right? When you move into a house and you want toilet paper and soap, so it's things like that, just like little thoughtful touches to be like, this is your home. We want you to make it a home. And usually that also translates into them taking better care of your place and knowing that you care about your home. You see people taking better care of it as well. So
Yeah, and Jen, I know we talked a little bit about some of the things you do for Christmas, and I think we're
we
gonna
got to
take
step up our
we got to
game.
step up our game is what we learned. Yeah.
Just for the listeners out there, Marty and I talked, and he asked me, he says, well, what do you do, and what do you might do for Christmas? And I said, well, every year, and for my tenants who are listening, they know this is true. Every year, all my tenants get a handwritten note that says the same thing. Thank you for allowing us to support you on your housing journey, and Merry Christmas from the crew. And then everybody will sign the card. And then what we'll do is everybody will get a gift card to the local grocery store, right? So, we had thought one year about maybe buying everybody a turkey, and then we thought, well, maybe not everybody wants turkey, or so, but a local, it feels awesome when you get a gift card, because then it's a game, right? It's free money that people go, hey, can I get a 2-for-1, or how can I maximize this? And over the years, we have gotten such great response. And our gift cards are not that much, $25 gift card to the local grocer. But my goodness, does that ever, it's a wonderful gift from us, but it's also received really well, right? So the gift cards always go well. And I agree. I think that's really, really great for thoughtfulness. Now, let's talk about for your short-term rentals and even your long-term rentals. Do you rent your short-term stuff to like medical professionals or teachers or anyone like how do you market your short-term?
Oh, I'm taking this one.
Marty has a marketing background for it.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. We get such an incredible mix of people at our short-term rental. We're located right next to the conference center. We're right next to downtown, right on the river valley, sort of the best attractions and destinations in Edmonton. We have everyone from uh, the Stollery Children's Hospital. There's people that come here because it's a large catchment area for all of Western Canada. So there are families going through some of the hardest moments of their lives, and we get to give them a beautiful sense of home. That was one of our first stays. That was really inspiring for me. We also people fleeing forest fires in northern Alberta. We had a place. Um, Friends that have a flooded basement or a flooded home, we have a place. There's this sort of flexible housing space that short-term rentals kind of help fill that. Musicians coming and recording albums. We had a really famous producer come and stay, and then we got the boys trip from Saskatchewan, and they're,
Going to the football game
yeah,
at
and
the
maybe they got to get
at the
told
stadium.
you know, to
Quiet
take the
down.
party somewhere else. Those things happen too. But in general, we get people from all around the world that get to come stay here. We really took pride in making sure that this is a place that represents Edmonton really well, from the artwork that represents our city, the and the local artists that we represent in our home, the books, the literature, everything is so thoughtfully put together. So this huge gamut. We're also a university town, so parents coming to visit their kids, they want to stay here, they want to host here, and families coming to have Christmas in Edmonton. Like we've just seen
Yeah.
such a wide variety of, and it's really opened my eyes to why people come to this city, from an economic development standpoint, but also from a just what attracts our city to people. So it was a huge learning for me. And then of course you have people like, my house is under construction and I need, 2 months of housing, or I need 30 days of housing, or something like that. So you get
Mhm.
a really interesting view into the movements of people.
Yeah, and we've had a lot of repeat guests too, of
Yeah.
people coming to Edmonton for work as
Yeah.
well. So
And
um,
people like give us gifts. They
yeah,
come
some
here.
people have given us gifts for us, for
Yeah.
our, for our family. Yeah, and
Yeah.
just
So
yeah, I mean, and we've just had really great reviews. And I think, also what got us into Airbnb though, just to say, like Marty and I, well, before COVID, we traveled a lot and we would stay in Airbnbs everywhere that we go. And so we
we did it
also,
better. That's what we
yeah, we're like, we wanted to take
did. Yeah.
everything that was ever missing from an Airbnb that we've been at and put it in here, and like lots of thoughtfulness in that sense. And we've had lots of reviews and comments about that. Like, there's nothing missing, everything's there. This is
Best
the best
Airbnb
Airbnb
I've
I've
ever
ever stayed
stayed
at.
at.
And,
Yeah.
we really tried to
Yeah.
do that and elevate that experience, so that people would come back. So,
And it's working.
yeah.
And we
And
did it during COVID, which was
I was
like,
like, did we do it
we
during
we
COVID?
started it in COVID,
We did.
with a baby.
Yeah, 3-month old. And,
Yeah.
I think that's where it goes back to turning challenges into opportunities. I think during COVID, we decided that we were living in this property that has 3 suites, and we decided that it wasn't quite the right fit for us with our family. But instead of, seeing that as a barrier and, saying we can't do it, we decided, yeah, to turn it into an Airbnb so that we didn't have to move all of our furniture during COVID, right? That was the big driver.
This is an
Um,
Airbnb ad. We
yeah,
literally just,
and well, no, I mean, sorry, maybe I should short-term rental. Yeah, so we took that challenge and made it an opportunity, and it actually turned out to be a
and
really
it's turned
great
into
business.
like, people are like, thank you for sharing your home with us. That's how people, right? I know, it's
Yeah.
just like right in the feels, right?
That's cool.
So,
Yeah, and
That's
saying my
cool.
kid didn't want to leave, they were crying, they want to stay here
yeah.
forever.
Can I just talk about a long-term tenant really quick? Just
Yes, please, of course.
I hear the way you talk about tenants on your podcast, and I really connected with that. And that's why, obviously we've reached out to you, and I think one of the great joys of being a landlord, I imagine this is like a chef preparing food. There's like a really like human thing of like, I'm feeding people. And beyond just sort of renovating a house, or, fixing often a problem property in a neighborhood, which we take a great satisfaction in doing. Um, People like, they move into our houses. Sometimes it's just, they're playing house as a couple. They've never lived together before. Next thing you know, they're married. Next thing you know, they're buying a house, and we get to be that step. And if we made that, the furnace didn't break down as much because we did it right, or the plumbing was better. If we can like make a really great house, I feel like we actually, we don't just provide housing, we provide opportunities for real joyful moments in people's lives. So we strive for that. It doesn't always happen, but we really strive for that. Yeah. So
Amazing. Well, let's change gears for a second. What kinds of things are you guys reading, watching, listening to, besides my podcast, of course? What
yeah,
kind of things are you guys consuming right now?
You're consuming more than I am.
I do. Um,
That wasn't supposed to be a hard question.
you know, we sort of touched on earlier, that sort of There's some people who are interested in real estate, then there's people who are like collectors, and then there's that obsessed. We're that last category. And MLS, we're there every night. I'm there all the time. We're If it's a listing that we like, we talk about it. We go and look at it. We're on, like, we talk to our realtor every day.
Yeah, we really do. Yeah, we really
Like
do.
we are like we
Yeah.
have a group text, and we talk nonstop, and that's really fun. I took courses at UBC, Urban Land Economics. That was super exciting for me. University of Calgary, their fundamentals of real estate program, which was really great. Um, Rika here has lots of training resources. All of that stuff I'm really diving into. Beyond that, I think that's pretty much it. Right now, we're a little
Well,
bit busy. Yeah, so
but
yeah,
we've recently, like we're growing our business and we've got some really great partners that are behind us and backing us. And so they're actually connecting us in really great ways. They're running webinars and lessons on,
yeah.
tax implications and upcoming
Yeah.
tariffs on everyone's
by
mind. And
by partners, they're just yeah, I got it. Yeah.
and all of
Yeah.
that. And so I've been attending those webinars and doing that. And then they've also been opening up the door for us for other networking opportunities. So
Mm.
consuming in a different way, in an in-person way, learning as much as we can, meeting as many people as we
Yeah.
can. And it's really our network too that has opened a lot of doors for us.
That's a
And
great point. Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
so it's about building that. And I don't know if Marty told you, we did move to Vancouver for a little bit and came back to Edmonton. And part of that, we really realized that our network and our community was really important to us. And so that's been something that we've been leaning into as well recently.
Yeah, like you need a great accountant, you need a great lawyer, you got to have a great hardware store. They should know you by name because you go there so often. Like that's the network you need.
And trying to
So,
build yeah,
yeah,
trying to build advice. Like we've
yeah,
got people that have mentored us in our careers,
sure.
and so looking to them to be advisors as well, if they're open. And a lot of people in Edmonton, we're fortunate, are open to sharing stories and mentoring casually. Most people, there's CEOs of companies that will meet you for coffee and share stories, and that you don't get that everywhere. So
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Well, if a listener wants to get a hold of you guys, how do they do that?
Yeah. Go to our website, cairmar.ca, KAIRMAR.ca. Contact form, say hi. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. So truth be told, I just want to let the listeners out there that I got this random contacts on my website, mylifeasalandlord.com. And it's the first one that I'd ever gotten that was a podcast guest application through the website. And it was so amazing from these two that I actually read the whole thing, and then I read it to my husband. I was like, these people are amazing. So this is the first time we've had guests on the show from the website. So listeners out there, if you have a story to tell, please go to the website and tell us your story on podcast guest application. I know this isn't the end of this discussion at all, and I know you're moving into multifamily. Mike and I do multifamily. We're multifamily in multiple places. Any parting thoughts on where you are, where you're going to go? As you guys look at each other.
Very good. One that comes to mind for me, and it was where Marty was saying, that there's collectors, there's people who's interested, there's people who are obsessed, but there's also people who never actually jump in and do it. And so, my parting thoughts are that, I started it because I was living on my own and I was living in a place that I didn't want to live anymore. And I thought, well, how can I get out of this? And so I ended up renting the place I was living in so I could live somewhere that I wanted to live. And so I think, again, it's, my parting thoughts are that you can do it if you just jump in and try it, and you're going to learn lessons along the way. Now there's so many more resources than there were back then. And again, that try to view things, it's those challenges that can actually become opportunities, especially in real estate. And I think those were some really important lessons for me learned along the way.
My lesson is I know when you've said everything that needs to be said. That's great. I don't like parting.
No, it's no question.
Yeah. It's been a real joy to do what we do, and a real joy to do it with you. Yeah. So that's my last thought. So I think I'm really excited to see everything that kind of scared me a little bit and seemed a little bit too out of reach. We've far surpassed, and there's a few things I'm looking forward to going to do next that are a little bit they're stretch goals. And this year we're hoping to move into multifamily in a significant way, and I'm excited for it. I'm ready for it. So my thoughts are whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. So I think about that a lot. Yeah.
Amazing. So glad to have you both on the show. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.